In this tutorial, we will be doing an Ant-Man style system where we can shrink and grow. As you can see, I shrink, the camera goes in closer and the distance is blurry and your character is in focus. You can also go giant too. Easy toggleable controls and settings. To get started, right-click and make an Enum. Call this enum_size. This will list all the sizes you can be. Open this and here, you can add 3 options. First one is small, second is normal, and the third is tall. Save and open up your player class. First, we can add some variables. A few float variables like current scale, minimum scale, and we also need a max scale. Now compile and let's give them default values. Current scale would be 1. You can play around with the small and big scale. I kept it at 0.2 and 10. We do need one more variable, I called it size state. This is our enum size type. Make sure the default value is normal. Now on your event graph, create a custom event. Call this event update size. This will be our only function we need to control the scale. First, set the size state. Drag the set input into the function and it will create an input automatically. Next, we can call our actor scale 3D. You can right-click the vector and split struct. This gives us floats. You can use a timeline or event tick. I am going to use the float interp to node. I made sure that the floats connected up. This interp will make a smooth transition for the scale. Our start is current scale. You can drag the target to our function event to create an input. Delta time is our get world delta seconds. Our speed will be high like 2500. Don't forget to also set our current scale to the return value too so it updates. Now compile and below, we can place our inputs. For quick testing, I am just going to add number keys such as 1 and 2. Now call our function to update size. For 1, it's going to be small so I put the min scale here and set our state to small. Do the same for the second except using max scale and set it to tall. Now test and it should work. Ignore the camera bug. To fix it, click on your spring arm. There is an option here to disable do collision tests. The results should be similar to this. Now this is just a simple input press, but I want to toggle the sizes using the same keys to normal size too. I am going to use a switch state node to control this. Get your enum and drag from it to get a switch. Now you want to connect the function to normal and tall. When you are these sizes, you can go to small. If you are already small, you can just duplicate this function. Set the scale to 1 and change it to normal. The same happens to the second input. I copy and paste the switch state. This time I connect the function to small and normal. For tall, I copy the normal change size function and link it to the tall state. Now test and see if you can toggle from small to normal and grow large. This segment of the tutorial I am going to be adjusting the settings of the optional character movement and camera. Get your character movement component. Search for gravity scale. Also search for a set max walk speed. Final character movement setting that I want to change is jump velocity. From your float, get a select node. The condition will be our enumeration state. It can create these options for us to set values to. Now this will take some experimentation and testing. First gravity, go to your character movement, find gravity. Whatever value you have here will be the normal value in the select. Now for the tall, I am going to make gravity larger while gravity is only slightly decreased for small. We don't want our character to float down. Now our max walk speed. Our normal speed will be 400, I change both the default values and the one in the select node. When we are small, we want faster movement, 600 may be too fast. With tall, we want it to be really high up because Unreal's character movement doesn't take scale into account. Now jump velocity. By now, you should understand what I am doing. This is what I think are good values to match jumping with our size. Our next setting is the camera spring arm. We want to get closer if we are small and get further away if we are tall. On your spring arm, set target arm length. Use the select node and enum. I adjust the small value later, but I set tall to 5000. Test the game and the cameras are fine, but I want to make the camera closer when small. I change it to a number like 20 or 50. Now I want to do some post-process FX to blur the background. Using a select node would be messy here, so first get your enum variable and call your switch statement. I am changing the post-process on my camera, so click on your camera and search for depth of field. We are changing the focal distance and blur radius. Get your camera and call set post-process. Now drag and you want to find make post-process, it will look like this and you can click on it to get options. Find the depth options and enable them. I tested out these values of 30 and 100, low focus distance and large blurry background. Now for the normal, you can keep it at 0 or give it some depth of field. Remember to change the default values in the camera. Now when you are tall it doesn't matter either, but I changed it to 6000 and blur at 10. Play the game to see if you like the results. I do like the effect when we are small. This is optional, but I am going to add it so you faint when you are tall for too long. Create a custom event and call it update faint. I am just doing a simple print string and write in faint. Now from the tall post process, call a set timer by event. Hook the square to this event. Set the time of how long you can stay tall for. Now from the return value, drag and promote to variable called faint timer. We want to cancel it when we are not tall. When we are normal or small, get your faint timer and call the clear and invalidate timer. Now we are done, test if it prints. Now that was a simple faint system, but you can add effects to it. The whole Ant-Man tutorial is done now. I hope you enjoyed this video and consider subscribing and sharing. See you next time.